What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. In case you guys don't know, I don't actively vend in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not buying, selling, or trading anymore. I did it 8 years as a living, but during ABC format, so that's a couple of years now, I stopped because it didn't feel right to not bring you guys the information or deals first and take part of them myself. I know some people are going to be like, King, take the money, there's nothing wrong, being active keeps you on Rusty. Well, I did something very publicly 3 months ago, and that's I spent $2,500 on these Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. As people were slamming their stim checks into the market, Starlight Rares were raising the entire ceiling. I went what's called mid to trash ultimate rares and said that I think this is an amazing long-term investment, and I'm not going to sell these for 5 years, and I'm not even going to announce when I'm going to sell them. I don't want to use my platform in order to like push it harder or go crazier with it. And the top comments are actually laughing at me. When you see Simo, I mentioned in the video, okay, that's a fair shot. I was like, I should have got a first edition Silent Swordsman level 5. Yeah, I knew that was coming. But then the next top comment with almost 50 likes is, I'm waiting for the video in 5 years, titled, I made a terrible decision. So just 3 months later, I want to hop in here and kind of show you guys how this investment is going that isn't an active one. It's something I pulled aside. I didn't do a single buyout. You could have got these cards after I bought them, but instead people decided, haha, John, that's a terrible decision. Oh, that's awful. There were a couple comments actually though that were like, I did something similar recently, and I think this is a good idea. So let's see the 500 IQ Galaxy Brain buyouts that are random or mid ultimate rares. Now, this is probably my best buy in terms of what it is at a higher price point. I bought a first edition Mobius at $30, which was the second most I spent on a card, and now his lowest first edition is $150. I'm not expecting to get these prices, these sales rates. The entire point of my investment was that after fees and shipping, I was hoping that the cards over 5 years would double up, right? So that if we take fees and shipping, I would make at least 1.5x, which is a 10% rate of return every single year at the worst, at the absolute worst. And people still found that reasoning to be awful, but that's a great long-term investment, right? But here we have already a 5x. Now this one, again, I don't expect sales rates or prices like these in 5 years necessarily, but Hollowed Life Barrier is an amazing card in terms of its actual potential for full Yu-Gi-Oh! You're just taking no damage, burn or battle or anything. Wabaku, of course, would stop battle, which for most cases you're not discarding a card, but it's a funny ultimate rare that people forgot in time, and it was $4 for first editions, and I think I grabbed like 12 of them. Now the lowest is $38 for a near mint first edition. I don't think that this card really should be higher than Banisher though. I bought these at 16. I was floored that first edition Banishers were still 16, which is when I stopped vending the price of them. Actually, all the way back to like 2012 they were still $16. Now they have finally crept up to 30. I think Banisher is a more iconic and recognizable and cool ultimate rare than something like Hollowed Life Barrier. That's why all these prices I know will fluctuate, I know will change. That's not what I'm getting in the future, but this right here currently is a 10x on the money on multiple cards in my investment that I spent around like $40 into $400 to, or even better. Whereas I bought a couple of Banishers and those are 2x's. I bought an unlimited Grand Mole, I think around $12.50. There weren't first eds on the market at the time. That's why I figured unlimited is okay to go into. And now I'm looking, there's not on the front page a single near mint unlimited. Okay, where's he gonna land? 90 freaking dollars? 12 into 90. That's crazy. And I know this card actually has somewhat of a sales rates as people are looking for the first editions. The first editions went from 75 out the door and now 170 and 200. If people just want a near mint copy of this period, I personally would think the stronger investments are with the first edition stamps, but with ultimate rares, it's not the worst thing in the world to get unlimiteds, but in 5 years, you could see Konami do something like they did in Korea and reprint packs to where ultimate rares are rolling out, and they've done so with, what is it, Docs, I think, got reprinted, so we have unlimited Ghost Rare Scarlight floating around now. So there is a chance that some of these in 5 years could get through. Maybe it really could be a terrible decision to hold on that long, as right now, the investment, it's crazy skyrocketing. Dark Souls, I bought around 12 to 13.50 as something for Billy for tabletop for first editions, and now those have tripled up for one copy, and if you're getting a playset, they're towards 40. Hammershot, I found so weird that they were in the $8 to $12 range for first editions. It just didn't make sense to me, and now the only first edition on market is $70. Pulling the Rug first editions were around $3 to $4. This was a tech in so many formats. It stymied Monarchs for a while, but it was a bit late to fight the Monarchs. It was in 2007, but still, it saw its time in the day. Well, the lowest first edition is 19, and that's only one copy. We see another 19, they're around $20, a 5x on that price. Doom Dozers, I think were $18. I wanted them for Demise OTK format. These kids don't know about the real Demise, paying $2,000, blowing up the field, and summoning Doom Dozer. And for the first editions now, they're like a double up towards 36 at the current time. I think a lot of the easier ends, the lower risk investments, have actually gone exponentially up versus the bigger boy higher end cards. Dark City was a weird one. I bought these for $10 for first editions, kind of as a just because it goes around GX, around heroes, and GX seems super stonks right now, and Power of the Duelist I felt like was underestimated. The lowest first editions are now 25. I'm surprised to see something like that even panning out right now. So whenever you see something in the market to where it's like, yeah, the terrible decision, there's these different pathways, and these were largely ignored and considered trash investments. Just in 3 months, how that's turned around and the entire market's gone, every ultimate rare is great and crazy. It's like Market Man knows what he's doing sometimes. These were sitting around $3.50, and this is one of my all-time favorite cards for both Unlims and first editions. Now the lowest near mint Unlims are about 3x, and I have not seen the price of a first ed, around 20. Makes sense, so about a 5x in value. Jack's Knight, King's Knight, and Queen's Knight were all things I bought, and they're kind of weird in price. I think I bought an Unlim Jack's Knight for around 12, if I recall, and it's 30. King's Knight, I think, was 16 for Unlim or first edition, and it hasn't 2x'd yet. And Queen's Knight was the most expensive card I bought at 35. Why would you spend that on it? Elemental Energy is actually skyrocketing in price in several places. I went first edition on her, and now that is towards 100 for the lowest. Again, I could post it at 80 and maybe it wouldn't sell today, but as time goes on, these will simply disappear from the market. Magical Explosion is a card I think I was able to buy in at $2 to $3, shockingly, and the lowest is still 5. A very iconic but also hated card in Yu-Gi-Oh! And whenever you don't have very fond memories of a card, it's not the most likely to go up. But the first editions have definitely gone up and off the market as people are looking at first edition ultimate investments, and you see $18 to $19. So my first ed's doing way better than my Unlims, but I bought the Unlims kind of just to have some extra things on the side. Supercharge is funny in that it counts any Roid type monster, so that also includes Speed Roids, and people forget about that one. It's not like you're going to actively play it for the Pot of Greed with machine type Roid monsters. You're not going to do that for, you know, the Roid deck necessarily, but the Unlims have they were like $2 to $3. Gone way up, and the first editions as well. Destiny Hero Dasher is one I brought to you guys first before me. I told you guys I wanted Dashers, and I showed first editions at 12. And then they sat at 18s forever. Now the lowest first edition is around $80 freaking dollars. So if you listen to me, you went in at 12, you got a better deal than me. I'm not doing too bad on that myself. Silent Swordsman level 5, the one Simo made fun of, but I've pointed out, has one of the most unique ultimate rare texturings out of all cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is also iconic. That's why I didn't feel bad spending like $11.50 or $12.50 on a ultimate rare version of him. He was one of the mid ultimate rares. I went for $100 lowest. That's over a 6x, ain't it? And number 34 terabyte. I'm not the biggest fan of number hunting and collections, but I saw that number hunting was getting way more popular. Battles of Legends certainly helped that boom. It's not something that I saw coming right out the gate, but number hunting has increased very much so since. I bought some first editions of this, and now they are at $18 when I bought in, I think around $3 to $5. Mystic Swordsman level 2, I was able to get an unlim around $15. Unlims are now around $25. Not even a 2x on this card. It's a niche play in GOAT format, but I expect GOAT format cards to do well over time, and of course the first edition is just on another plane of existence around $100. This is why you need to keep a more open mind with the Yu-Gi-Oh market. There are certain things that just can't replenish themselves on the market, things that are going to get taken off and held by people that are playing hot potato vendor. Like, I'm sure if any of you replicated my buys, when I did my buys, you're drooling at the bit, maybe thinking about selling just 3 months later, and I'm in for the long haul. I'm in for the ride. I don't want to be active with it. I don't want to have a stake to push these cards, but I do want to make the point that you shouldn't be so quick to judge, point, and laugh at an investment that someone's making. I see when Robbie Cole does it every year with the March reprint set and the Megatons, the two easiest sets to make money off of all year long for vendors. People don't get it. They don't get why he's spending large sums of money on it. They're pointing, they're laughing, they're saying he's gonna lose his ass, and here's the thing, he makes a quick, you know, $5 grand, $7 grand, or a slow, huge pile of cards with a break even. It's not bad to do that. Whenever you break even and you're free rolling on the rest, that's one of my favorite types of investing. It feels so good to already have your money back in hand and a giant pile of your investment in front of you. The kind of old school mentality to not fully go in. It's still the safer route whenever a market could crash or go, but I'm all in for 5 whole years. I'm not selling any of these cards if you're asking until then, so maybe check back in if there's something you really see. They're gonna sit in a box, not going anywhere, unless there's some life emergency I couldn't see happening that, you know, I hope doesn't happen to me. That being said, please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these conversations like this and looks around the market that people necessarily weren't thinking about. I love doing penny stocks, but I also love looking in at different niches, weaving in and out, and I think this was one of those ones where a lot of people weren't too perceptive to what was going on with the market as a whole, and I even stated, I want to put my money in before everything just goes out the window, and you should have pointed and laughed at this. Some of these cards are going to be very hard to get near mint, let alone in, you know, decent condition in the future.